Good morning. Happy Tuesday to everyone. Let's see. I think we have lots of folks on. Wonderful. Good morning to you. I wore bright yellow today. I felt like a bright yellow day, even in the midst of the morning dew and the marine layer. And we're going to be talking. What a perfect day for this. We're going to be talking today about um, one of the 10 recollections of the Buddha. We have been reviewing that for several weeks. We are going to continue to review that. And I said last week, it's essential that we look at this quality of heart mind, particularly of the awakened heart mind, uh, and that is the quality of generosity. Generosity understood as things like in the suttas, the first act of the Buddha, the first act of the Buddha. And then we break that down some more, which we're going to do today, to what's required so that we can um, uh, set the aspiration for dana paramita, one of the it is the first of the 10 perfections, different than the 10 recollections, but also similar in that they are qualities. They are understood, the paramitas, for a moment, are understood. We're just going to do a little review as the qualities of a bodhisattva on the path to Buddhahood, uh, requiring practice, requiring practice. And so then we understand that though we are all born with the capacities of being Buddhas, we also understand that that capacity must be, and I will underscore that not all would agree with me. So I want to, that's Diana, must be cultivated. That's Diana. Why? Well, I haven't just seen my true Buddha nature appear left unattended for myself. So I only have that wisdom so far. And I understand that through practice, not just meaning then meditation, but also including these characteristics, today's being generosity, that is essential towards realizing then our true Buddha nature, which is always available, always here, never diminished, always flourishing. Right? You have all heard me say this as well. So then I woke up at 2 something in the morning, almost texted Carrie, and then went, yeah, she's probably got her phone on. That's probably not a good idea. But I was tempted. I almost hit the button twice. So Carrie, I hope you were sleeping and enjoyed that because I almost got you. 2:30, and I woke up with an inquiry, and I stayed up for a while, just in that, not analysis, but just in the inquiry of where is this in evidence. So here's the question. If we understood generosity not as an act first, not as an act first, and I want us to hang on to this tightly, what would we say it was? And I want you to write that in chat, say it out loud. We're on Jabra, so Libby can talk and be heard, I think. Libby says it's a thought, an idea. What else is it?
An attitude.
An attitude.
And
Who said that? An attitude.
Jean.
Jean, an
Yeah.
attitude. Thank you. Somebody else, Kathy?
an intention.
An intention. Who's saying that?
Kathy.
Kathy, thank you. Lynn?
Way of being.
Way of being, says Siobhan. I know that voice. A way of being. Lynn, what's your thought?
I was stuck on intention.
Intention. Yeah, sure. Right? What else? Any other ideas? I saw somebody say feeling. Erman, was that you? Feeling? Somebody said, I would say feeling, yes, not emotion.
Open heart.
Open heart, some quality of open-heartedness would be essential towards this reality of generosity. Would everyone agree? Would there be anyone who does not see it this way? Right. So we know, don't we? Caring. Yes, caring would be a part of that. What would be the motivation in the first place, right? To even turn the mind. It's sometimes called, just so we start to understand these terms, especially if people are thinking about visiting Nepal next year. And that is, just to be clear, it is not an EMC event. It is not an EMC event. EMC cannot take that kind of liability on. This is just a Diana fun idea. Think of it that way. Don't think of it as an EMC event. We'll keep saying that just to be sure we're clear. If for those who are thinking about it, you will hear a lot in Nepal then about the turning of the Dharma wheel. Or another word, phrase that's said is the turning of the Dharma mind. And the first understood, the very first act of generosity, which is already identified, is the placement of the mind. And then, as Dennis said, the open heart towards what? What would you say?
Forgiveness.
No, wouldn't come first, but it would
Yourself.
certainly
Love.
love yourself. Carrie, being what? The
Myself and then others. Right?
Yeah, actually, interestingly, in the Mahayana teachings, just so we're clear, Carrie is completely correct. It is love, of course, isn't it? It is towards the benefit, the good, but it actually turns first towards you to say, without your commitment to your quality of mind, to your capacities, without recollection of this, without commitment of this. And then there's this word we don't like, but is essential in generosity, with the understanding of renunciation. Required then for generosity. Why? Renunciation, turning towards the self, with this commitment, understanding the essential practice of, we'll just say these few words: non-craving. Not right. Are we getting it? Yeah. Non-craving, non-identification, all the non-words we could think of. Wouldn't they fit there? And so that's understood to be essential. Can everybody see why? Towards this heart mind of generosity. Why? Essential. Couldn't get there without it.
Because
Why?
if there's grasping, there's expectation of something within generosity.
Right? My dad used to talk about the people in the first pew. in church whenever we went. We did not go often. We got sent to catechism. No one else did a thing.
I didn't know your father knew my mother.
Yes, they all knew each other well, Gene. First pew, people in the first pew, watch them. That's not generosity. That's not love. Don't mistake that. They just got the good parking spot. That's what that is. They got their name on the pew. That's what that is. Right? What did he understand?
It was not truly for the benefit of others.
That's right. Right? And of course, those folks, by the way, were deserving of care, weren't they? They were deserving of prayer. They were deserving of kindness, weren't they? They just had some confusion, we would say. Ignorance pervades about what does that really mean? How do we really do that? And we are all there also, don't we? We get confused. What do I get to keep? What do I? And then we say I must give it all away, and then we realize that can't work. Buddha tried himself, by the way, in his aspiration to not consume anything. Well, it wasn't going to work out. He was going to die. So we understand there's this incredible exchange, we'll call it, particularly in the Tibetan tradition, an exchange of self and other, not, Jean, self for other. Know the difference? Can you feel the difference? Self and other. We are in this together. We are one, not two, right? And then we go on, as we talk, to say not one, not two. We're not either of those really, but we get this idea. And then I want you to consider this idea. So then, if you are all correct as you are, that the placement of mind and the motivation and the generation and the aspiration and the intention rests in the exchange of self and other, then what is prayer? Because prayer is understood to be the first act of generosity. Is that incredible? Prayer, the first act of generosity. Why? Because you're already in the exchange. The very nature of the prayer does not, it is understood not to be a call to another, is understood, let's be clear, not to be a call for assistance, support to another. So then what is it?
I guess I'm back to intention.
The call up, the calling up, I'm going to give you a hint, of the good in oneself, the good in others, and then the commitment to the exchange, right? Because we say, for the good of me, I'm going to offer this good to the good of you, because it's going to be to the good of us all. And that formula is never broken under any circumstance. Can we see why? That's why it's called perfection. It cannot be broken. I call up the good in me so that I can remember that quality, that Buddha quality in me, so that I can then remember the Buddha in you and open wholeheartedly to the exchange. And it is said then that the first act is the calling up of the good, remembering one's own Buddha nature and one's own capacity uh, towards that good. The second is being that through the very turning of the Dharma wheel. May I then consume what? Not material items, right? Not excess anythings, but consume that good, that presence. I think for those with the Christian, from the Christian tradition, it would be like communion, wouldn't it? Isn't that it? Right? We just don't do it with this idea that that's somebody else. The aspiration is greater. It is you are that good. And then in whatever way that can occur, given the realities of the causes and conditions, that would then be the exchange. Or one might then say something like the offering, right? Does that make sense to everyone? So I'm going to stop there because this is, I think, very difficult for us. We've, particularly those who have turned towards this tradition, and remember, we are not only Buddhists, right? We are the everythingists, in all time-ists, because there is truth spoken from infinite. Kathy? We get this. So where's the sticking point with this idea for you? Because prayer is a very hard idea. We imagine it as being going to something else to get something for oneself. So where's the sticking points? Write it or say it. Where do you get stuck with this?
Diana,
Yes.
I get stuck, and it may not be time to talk about it yet, but then what you called the offering, the skillful action. I don't think you need an example, but I had a big one this weekend. The generosity I would like to show my ex-husband would not be welcome. And we're friends, we get along, but like me, he lost a son. Like me, he's grieving. Unlike me, he is living in squalor. And I've wanted to help him for a couple years, but respected his wish to leave him be.
That way.
Right.
So there you go. That's where we're stuck, Jean. There's no doubt about your capacity to support him and you.
And my Buddhist name that I got at the refuge vow, glorious generosity.
Boundless, right? Boundless. It would not come maybe then as $1. It would not come as paying somebody's rent. It might come as a presence. It might come as a way of your being in the world for and with him. Right. So we're careful not to get into this hierarchy. I do for you because you're right. So that the only stuck places where we all get stuck, which is I want to do this. Well, this may not be it.
So that's, yeah. So just because I think it's generous doesn't mean it is. There has to be this thought, but I think that's beyond where you were going in your talk.
Not at all.
Okay.
No, I think you landed right on it because we all get fixed in these ideas then, both of generosity and then of prayer and then of skillful means and then of the expectations that come with it or the ideas, limited ideas that we have about it. Dennis, correct? Isn't it true? Because we go, well, I did this, but I didn't get that. Or I did this and they didn't like it. And remember my $5 thrown at the guy with the dog who threw it back at me? I missed the boat big time.
Yeah.
And he saw me. Now, when I say me, what do I mean? The fear in me. He saw, like, don't, I paid you $5 so your dog won't eat me, is really what I did. And he saw it. And he
Yeah,
said, lady, I don't need your money. And really what he meant is that's not generosity.
Right.
That's not coming from there. And he was 100% correct. And he was the Buddha for sure that day. And I have never forgotten it. And I never will, because I remember the feeling I had when I threw the money. And I was as contracted, squeezed, and terrified as one could likely. I just used money for it. Right. And so this idea, and then I said on Saturday, does anybody recollect? And then we're going to practice this a little. I said, the sutta says to call the name of the Buddha is to know the Buddha. And I want to hang on to that for a minute. To call the name of the Buddha is to know the Buddha. What does it mean? To call the name of the Buddha. Yeah.
I'm thinking that to call the name of the Buddha always, like not whether you're happy or when you're sad or when you're, but to be able to reflect on it whenever, which
I
is,
love that, Robin. I
it's
love
not
the
easy.
word. No, well, I never said that it was. No, you did not pick the simple path. That you folks show up every, I don't know why. Every Tuesday, I'm amazed that anybody's here. But this is the power of the truth. So reflect, it was a key word that Robin said, to reflect on those qualities, to reflect. We've already done this on the awareness, the experience of those qualities in oneself and or another, right? That's what they mean when they say calling the name. They don't mean just the word. It's not sufficient, right? Just like in a prayer, are the words themselves sufficient? No, not if they don't what? Inspire, ignite the heart of bodhicitta, or we could simply say goodness. Do we get this idea again? So in saying the name of the Buddha, you could say love, you could say care, you could say pay, you could actually name any of the qualities. Well, hey, that's what the 10 recollections is. That's it. It says remember, remind, repeat, recite. Calling it up. From where? Not up there. Right here. Right here. But to say it is to activate, inspire, ignite. Is this understood? And we know it's true. Why? The neuroscience says where we place the mind, that becomes not only our world, that's the first, but what? Right here. I become that by calling it up as well. Now, what did we already say? Just calling it up isn't enough. You got to call it up, then you got to embody it, then you've got to be it, then you activate the presence of that, and then whatever you do from there, we have 100% confidence and 100% devotion. We give everything to that, don't we? Everything, whatever it would take to go that word, right? And I said, find your words, find your phrase. I asked you to send them to me. We're going to make a little booklet. That is not completed. So if you haven't, send that to me. What inspires that in you? And that's understood to be prayer. And that's understood to be the very first act of generosity. That's how we got to Philabelly. That's how we get the money for St. Andrews. That's how we figure out how to get burritos to all the guys downtown. That's how we're going to become a sanctuary community. Whether we can say that word or not, I don't know, because it's a technical thing. But right where we go, we will support the safety and well-being of others. But without calling it up, where does the mind go without it? And with intention, then, keeping the mind there, we are what? Caught. We're caught in craving, aren't we? And that's the bottom line. If we do not on purpose go plant it, put it there, put it back there, do it again, how do I live it now? How do I breathe it now? How do I be it now? And then now, and then now, we already know what happens. Left unattended, we are all going to turn and fall. It's the default mode network, isn't it? We're going to fall into the self focus, self cherishing, self craving. Aren't we all? Yeah. But that is not understood as the problem, by the way. We understand the nature of mind towards survival, don't we all? And that's not wrong or bad at all. It just means survival for what? Then becomes the bigger question. Not the nature of survival is good, but then towards what end? Prayer is the offering of aspiration. The simplest prayer, the one we will be focusing on then in our retreat this September, starting on the 29th through the October 4th. We're going to be talking about that more. The point of that retreat is the offering of the aspiration with this simple prayer. May all beings find peace. And I'm going to stay with peace, not happiness, because we get stuck there, don't we? And doesn't the peace free us up a little? Right? We could say then, may all beings find freedom from suffering. But I want to place it in some way in a positive. Not just what we don't have, but what we do have. May all beings find peace. And, the metta practice then, it's also understood to be a concentration practice, which means we place the mind in the name of the Buddha. That was it. May all beings find peace is the name of the Buddha. That's the name. And we say it over and over and over. Calling to mind, right? Either with intention or then spontaneously. Works as well. The bird I can hear right now, Libby just making a clearing of her voice. May she find peace. And so then we don't mistake that word, Buddha, that is not necessarily comfortable or right, ours, because of our culture and our context. That's the name of the Buddha. And so I want to stop with that for a minute and make sure you understand what I'm saying. What are the questions about that? And then we're going to practice. The name of the Buddha. May all beings find peace.
I have a question, Diana.
Yes.
It was more on the previous discussion. Well, it will pertain to what you just said. So what if I'm understanding this correctly? I would say a workaround for me would be withdrawing my attention from a certain person. I have a very hard time finding the good in that person. In fact, it's quite the opposite. So if I understand this, then I need to really just withdraw my attention from that conversation and focus on planting the seeds of goodness in myself. What we were talking about, anchoring all those instead of the aversion towards
That's right.
the person, etc., and just
Exactly.
withdraw my attention from that judgment and that whole blah 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 blah.
That's exactly right.
Okay, good.
Take the good medicine, right? You want to take the good pill. You don't want to take the poison pill. And all moments of aggression, all moments of greed, all moments of hatred, all moments of ill will, all moments of ignorance, which means I have forgotten that as long as that person's not okay, I cannot be okay. And if I'm not okay, others can't be okay. Remember the exchange of self and other as the primary number one view, right view is that one. Then withdrawing, recognize you recognized it already. Siobhan, you already went, this isn't helping me. This is not beneficial to me. I just get mad or disgusted, or my stomach gets nauseous, or then my throat closes, and then I can't breathe, and then I can't sleep. And then, right, there's nothing like the Buddha himself went, hey, not eating is not that good. It's not working out that well. Aggression, aversion, not that good. It's not working out that well. And that's what I'm primarily eating.
Mm.
I'm eating hatred, hoping what? That it heals what? Nothing. You feel it every time you do it. It's so clear. There's no benefit to you. There's no benefit to the other. There's no benefit to Steve. There's no benefit to your cats. Nobody wins. Everybody loses Siobhan in that moment, including Siobhan. Right?
Yeah.
And doesn't your experience say that so?
Yeah.
Look at how caught it is, how wrapped, right? How unrelenting. You can't even get out.
Yeah.
Right? It like sucks you up right into the hole. This is everything but freedom. And the path and its commitment is to freedom, not to being bound or tethered or knotted or tangled. Look at the words, or jangled, or it says not that. That won't be the way to any peace. And so may all beings have peace would require that we abandon. This is the point of renunciation again, isn't it? That's the perfect practice, Siobhan. Renunciation, not with hatred, not with I'm an idiot, not with at all, but with may we all have peace. May all beings have peace. You would say, and let's begin with me not spinning the right hate or the anger or the confusion. Thank you. That was a perfect offering. So we understand a few things then. We understand the name of the Buddha does not require you to say Namo Buddhaya. That's just one of the phrases. I don't say it. It doesn't mean anything to me. I said it for years. I never understood what it meant. Nobody told me. They just said, say it. So I did. But I was like, I understood the idea of calling something up in me, but those words didn't do it. They don't do it today for me. May all beings have peace, much more likely. Now, you're going to find your phrase. If you've sent me a phrase, that might be the phrase, except then we also have to remember the science, which says too long, not going to work out that well for you. Too long, not a good plan, not a good idea, because now you just have to think of the words, right? It's a really bad mantra to go blah, 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 blah. And I've told you about Tanasaru Bhikkhu, who is a scholar who runs through the prayer so fast, we think he's speaking a foreign language. He's speaking it in English. I thought it was Pali for years. Thought the guy was just reciting in Pali. What? That's English? What is he saying? But that's not the practice, is it? It's not the practice. So find your phrase, because we're going to be reciting it for a week. Right? And then we're going to recite it for a lifetime. And then we're going to recite it for all our lifetimes until it's manifest. Right? That's the point of it. So, is there anybody who has questions about this or doesn't understand what I'm saying? I don't want us to move away from this because we have mistaken generosity for the money giving. And it doesn't mean it isn't. And it doesn't mean it is. Does it? And it doesn't mean it is. Not if it comes from, I'm supposed to, it'll get me this. I'll feel better about who I voted for. It will not free you. It's not its design. Okay. I'm going to look for comments. I know there's a question out there because I can hear it. So I'm hesitating because I know there is. I don't believe it's around the phrase, right? We understand the benefit of calling in shorthand, which is what words are, right? They're just shorthands for what we all named before, a quality of heart mind. So I don't think that's where we're stuck. We're not stuck in what the words are. I can't imagine we're not that fixed for us to get hung up where the words are. Is the question, what if I don't feel it? What if I say the words and nothing happens? It's maybe somewhere there. I'm trying to read your minds, folks. That's actually what I'm doing right now. So what if, I'm getting closer, what if I keep saying it and nothing? Is that it? And does it mean then that I'm failed or hopeless or something? What's the answer? What if I do this? Metta practice, naming the Buddha practice, taking on the qualities of the Buddha, which is your innate capacity, and nothing happens. What's the answer? And then we'll sit. Come on, Buddhas. Well, we know something's. Libby says something's happening. Even the words just being spoken. Even the spoken word. Even the placement of the heart mind in those words matters. And I don't feel anything yet. My phrase, in good or bad. And would we then guarantee, just like Jean, with an idea about a certain response to generosity or act of generosity, would we expect a certain immediate or long-term outcome? You couldn't, could you? Because what do we understand? Well, this whole idea of Buddha is boundless. The whole idea of it is boundless, beyond right description, beyond, and then this happens. Beyond, and then I feel like this. I practiced metta for many, many, many years, going, I have no idea what people are doing here with this, because I don't feel anything. I just kept saying the words. And I said this to Sharon Salzberg herself, who said, right, I know. Me too. Me too. I kept waiting for something else to happen that was predictable, expectable, viewable, seeable, observable, feelable, and I was wrong on them all, just like you. That's not the way it's born. And then poof, we already are that. It's to make contact with the truth of that. The very reciting is the truth. Already, it says, known. Already, just the saying of it, already realized. Already. You didn't do anything. You said, may all beings find peace. May all beings find peace. And then you call up your ex, and you call up your cat, and you call up the person who hit your car, right? May all beings find peace. So that might have been our question. What if nothing comes of it? It's not possible. It is not possible. So we don't have to worry. We just practice it and remember that Buddha nature in us. Greg, I see you, so I'm going to turn to you as I'm getting out my bell.
So, what I get from it is we can use a phrase, or we can use whatever it takes to sort of come in contact with that part of us,
That's right.
in which gratitude just is spontaneous in a way. I mean, it's always there within us, but we don't make contact with it. And I think about, for me, it's like when I think about this, that it's all about me, the meanness kind of thing that really kind of blocks it,
That's right.
And so whatever the phrase is that I would come up with, it's really just a phrase that I can use to sort of come back in contact with that.
That's exactly correct, Greg. And that is the first act of renunciation, not just me. Now, I didn't say not me,
Right.
did I? I said not just me, which means it's me and you, baby.
I like the phrase, we're all in this together. I have it up in my little cabin up in the mountains that's on my front door.
Yes.
And I see it every time I go in, and it, that's kind of my phrase in a way.
Yeah. So then that would be, remember, we're cultivating a practice and a capacity for a lifetime or lifetimes. And so we want this to be something general enough, applicable enough, unconditioned enough that it applies always. Right? We're all in this together might be one of those. Because isn't it pervadingly true? Even when we don't feel like it. Even when we don't like the neighbor. Even when we didn't, right? It is, there's the Dharma alive. We're all in this together. That's that exchange. That's that deep understanding, isn't it? Deep understanding of interconnectedness. And I want everyone to find theirs. We're going to stay as a group with something, may all beings find peace, because we can, as a group, I think, hold that well enough. We are not going to hold Namo Buddhaya. We are not going to hold Om Mani Padme Hum, which I thought about. Now, by the way, beautiful meaning, but Is it ours? We're borrowing. So then we better find ours. And may all beings find peace. I don't want to use the word happiness on purpose for now, because I know what that cultivates. I know where we get stuck. Okay. I think we got it. I think we got it. I woke up at 2:30 going, uh-oh, we're going to get stuck in generosity as an act. And what a shame it would be, because the cultivation comes well before the act. And the act then, this is the beautiful news, will naturally, effortlessly follow. So whatever comes then, Jean, when you think, I want to, may my ex find peace, whatever comes, I will trust that, as I would ask you to trust that wholeheartedly. And it will be completely right. Okay. And so, as Greg already said, as we're preparing to sit, what he said that was important to the then meditation is a formal practice of what we all just said, right? And so we take time in the practice, the method, we cultivate a method on purpose. This is the point of all meditation. All prayer is this. It's the recitation, the remembering, the reciting, the recollection of the very thing we are working to cultivate. That's the definition of prayer. So we don't get stuck with some idea about asking or looking to something else. And so let's prepare to sit. So establishing the body. And establishing the body in a way that is wakeful, attentive, and noble. And grounding that body into the body of the earth. Second instruction. And then we join this earthen body into the earth itself with the breath. We release the out breath beyond the body into the earthen body, the earth itself, and feel the contact. And then we breathe in that stability, that presence, the very presence of the earth. We take our noble seat. And then we strike the bell. And in the strike of the bell, the purpose of the strike is the holding and remembering. The strike of the bell is so that it can be heard, felt, and known by all beings everywhere without exception. It is not just ours to keep. And so we listen as we strike the bell, as it expands beyond any sense capacity, any hearing, any knowing, beyond to include all beings, all things. And we expand our own heart minds with the strike of the bell. I'm going to do it again just so we can practice. Having called to mind our own goodness, the goodness of all beings, and our capacity for awakening this moment, we rest in the three refuge, the Buddha that is alive in us now, the Buddhas of all time, we with intention and continued aspiration take the Dharma seat. We sit in nobility of the truth of this precious human life accorded to few, and the truth of awakening. We rest in the vast open heart mind and arms of the Sangha of all awakened ones. And this is where then the recounting of the 10 recollections is of benefit. We call to mind and recollect the qualities of the Buddhas within, the Buddhas throughout all time, the Buddha within all beings. We call them by these names. The worthy one, the perfectly enlightened one, the one perfect in knowledge and conduct, the thus gone and the thus come one, the knower of worlds, past, present, and future, the incomparable guide, the teacher of gods and humans, that means beyond all time, and this human form, the awakened one, the blessed one. We remember that the Buddha, in these first recollections, renounced joy for oneself, material gain, renounced focusing the mind on one's own good, for the good of all beings. First act of renunciation. And then consequently, the very first act of generosity. And then we recollect an experience of another who gave their presence towards the benefit of all beings. And there's infinite moments for us all. Presence for the benefit of more than oneself. That would be anyone who ever had the thought beyond oneself for another. We breathe it in, and we see if we can cultivate that physical felt sense, the knowing that then leads to a certain presence. And we're watchful here that we don't get perfectionistic, that we don't go, it's an all or nothing proposition. I can't think of any, that means there weren't any. None of this is true. And it's just as well if you can't think of something you have done or offered or thought or felt, think of another. Calling the Buddha to mind. And we can look in any and all directions for that instruction. Calling the Buddha to mind with some felt sense. The picture of a person, the phrase itself, the one we're going to use, unless you have one in hand, may all beings find peace. We're going to repeat your phrase or the phrase along with and in concert with the breath. On the in-breath, may all beings find peace. We breathe it into being. May all beings find peace. We spread it throughout the whole heart, mind, and body. We embody. This is the same as the idea of communion. We are ingesting, metabolizing the heart, mind, and body of the Buddha in you. The Buddha that is you. Interestingly, this will naturally expand on its own and stay with the recitation and the breath for several moments. But what will naturally happen is that it will, as I say frequently, we begin to take the practice on the road. And so what just happened for me is I've recited this several times with the breath, and now there's a saw that I'm hearing out in the neighborhood, and I actually just called that sawer, whoever is doing the sawing, to mind, and along came the phrase, may all beings find peace. May this person find peace. And I can then breathe that in, let it touch my own bodhicitta heart. And then I can send it out to him or her. May you find peace. Or maybe the mind went to yourself, to the achy Achilles, to the body that's imbalanced, to some ache or pain or issue in the body. And may this body find peace. May this mind find peace. May this heart rest in peace. And we stay in the method. And since we have found our phrase, we have cultivated the qualities of the Buddha that is us and the Buddha that is in others. We then can do this method in two ways. One is to just spontaneously, as it just occurred, others may come to mind. Or we can structure in a more formal way, as we know in the metta practice. We can structure it by calling to mind first a benefactor, a loved one, someone we care about, a neutral other, someone we have ignored or used in a more utilitarian way. We can call to mind someone with whom we have had struggle, difficulty, confusion. We can call to mind all beings. We can call to mind oneself. Today I'm going to leave it to you. When there is nothing specific, or if it is hard to cultivate, we can always rest in this single phrase, may all beings find peace. Or we are all in this together. Or whatever your phrase might be. We rest in the phrases and the breath united. And eventually you may begin to notice that the pervading quality of peace, of ease, of calm is in your own heart, mind, and body. And then you naturally may let the phrases fall away for that presence, for that embodiment, especially if it is tactile, if you can feel, sense, know it. The phrases become extra. You can simply rest in this awakened heart mind of peace, offering it in all directions, offering it specifically. We are calling the name of the Buddha and letting it be known. Just like this. Be watchful of the idea that you must offer this to another. This is a critical mistake. You may be resting within that peace, that ease yourself, and that may be the practice for a very long time or just now. You cannot offer what you do not have, and what you do not know. May I find peace. May you find peace. May we all find peace. The metta practice is the antidote to all aggression, all hatred, all ill will, all judgment. A radical, fierce first act of generosity. And for as long as time and space endures, and as long as there are beings who exist, may I so too remain to wash away the sorrows of the world. May we dedicate this practice to those special ones who we are calling to mind and who are in need. So let's check in on that practice. We have all, I think most of us, have some connection or contact with the metta practice, loving kindness practice. We might call loving kindness then the inner expression of a prayer. Right? We could think of it that way. Loving kindness, the inner expression of the prayer. And if we could make contact with how that feels beyond a sensation, beyond an emotion, towards that pervading capacity for peace, we would wish it then, wouldn't we, for all beings? We have defined prayer as a capacity or a quality of being, not as a beseeching or what I guess you'd call it a request, or, right? Something like that from some other source, from some other capacity. And it doesn't mean we can't call all Buddhas, all awakened ones, all worthy ones. Look what we just did. We recollected the 10 characteristics, right? To say all of that throughout all time in all of its perfection. And now. And this is the key. Because if we're just calling it from out there, we are now in a sort of theistic somebody else, somebody come and get me, right? Come and save me. And it doesn't mean we can't call all sources, including those beyond one's capacity. But you must always, always include the truth of that capacity in you. Otherwise, you're just looking to the babysitter, right? And we've now separated that out. Something over there must have it because something over here doesn't got it. And we're lost right away, aren't we? We're already lost right there when we look elsewhere. Doesn't mean we can't also look everywhere, is also true. Build bridges, not walls, was Kelly's phrase. In good or bad, loving light. Okay. Anything else about this before we get ready for our final?
It's Rob. So this was a really joyful meditation for me. But at first I was thinking that I could only feel this if I was joyful. And then I started thinking about my life, and someone passed away this week, and then there was a memorial, commemoration. And I was like, I was really at peace with all of that also. So I had to balance both those things and not think that peace always meant everything was perfect and joyful.
Thank you. Yes. The peace is maybe something we could understand not as a feeling. Remember, we were careful about that before, but as a quality. And the quality then would be one of inclusion, one of non-separation, one of non-grasping, not going, well, my pain at this loss, but the reality of the pain of loss would open us right back, wouldn't it? May all beings have peace who know loss, then, is a beautiful meta phrase. Wouldn't it be?
Being attacked.
And then well, that's, how lovely. There's joy too. right? And then we're not lost in my grief, that happened to me this week. We're going, yes, grief too. And the holding of that together is joyful. Huh? What? The Irish so got this, didn't they? They were crying and laughing and screaming and wailing and telling jokes all at the same time. Why? It wasn't the pain that was the joy was, and we are going to hold this together. We all know the truth of this. And then the joy isn't giddy. This is not what joy means. It is that peaceable, okay, we're going to be okay because we're going to hold this together. And we are. Because we are all going to know it. Right? And so it's okay to reflect on what's my life today. We just want to then open the container to go, and all those others just like me who know this. And then we don't collapse in on ourselves. We can stay in that connection, interconnection, and with a certain ease that is being cultivated. Let me read chat, and then thank you for that. Thank you for all those hearts. Yes, the fog is lifting, ever the case. I don't think I want to say more about prayer except that we understand it, not as in a theistic frame, not as a deity, not as another, and not as a calling up, yes, calling out to what? Well, the Buddha in us all would be what we could do with that. I have some notes. I think I'm going to send them just for fun. You may choose to look at them or not, but I think there's some a little benefit in there, so I'm going to send those along. I have them here. And then I think it's time for our final, our first recitation for today. Here we go. Let me get this bell ready. And so finding our place once again, our Dharma seat, making contact with the earth, and joining this body and this earth with the breath. We open the heart's mind completely, and we offer these phrases as our first offering. May I be a guard for those who need protection, a guide for those on the path, a boat, a raft, a bridge, for those who wish to cross the flood. May I be a lamp in the darkness, a resting place for the weary, a healing medicine for all who are sick, a vase of plenty, a tree of miracles. And for the boundless multitudes of living beings, may I bring sustenance and awakening, enduring like the earth and the sky, until all beings are freed from sorrow and all are awakened. May I find peace. May you find peace. May all beings find peace. And may this practice this very day contribute, and may it continue. So be it. May we live this day in greater peace, ease, and joy. And thank you for contributing yourself to that. Thank you so much, everyone. Lovely to see you. We will be Zoom only this Saturday. Just as a reminder, I believe Greg is on this Thursday. So I look forward to seeing him in practice. And may you all be well. May you all be well. Thank you. Be well, everyone.